Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production or YouTube, and welcome to another Wednesday review. And today I will be reviewing another Doomsday Today Records release, and it is, I guess, for the only album from these guys, though apparently, and I'll eventually will try and explain on some of this, and I'll get to some of the details because of on the recordings behind this, because apparently this could be a different recording, I guess. Again, I'm not very familiar with this artist. Again, this is still one of the releases from the very last Doomsday Today Records box that Paul had sent me about a month ago. And so, again, very unfamiliar with these guys. Again, all I can get the information I can get from these guys, again, is mostly off either Bandcamp and Metal Archives. So I'm going to best to run through this. But to keep all of you from in suspense, it's this Sam. And I'm going to try my best to pronounce this, because again, these guys are actually based out of Anna, Illinois, but again, it's all in, I think, was it Hispanic? I think the language here is. But so I'm going to try my best to pronounce this, but it'll be the last time I'll pronounce anything on here, because again, I want to refrain from butchering all of this, so I don't look completely like an idiot. So this is El Principio del Final from El Pecado, and again, it's their only release at this point. So again, it was released here on Doomsday Today Records back in October 22nd of 2020. So this is, again, all very cool. So let me definitely get into the Metal Archives page so I can go run through at least the year when these guys were formed and when they split up. They were formed all the way back in 1994, and they split up somewhere around apparently 1998. According to Metal Archives, there was a question mark say on whether or not on when they split up. But the information of them splitting up sometime around in 1998 is, again, it's all explained on their Bandcamp page. So again, and since then, prior to this, they had at least released at least 2 demos back in the mid 90s. So what's like 94, 95, or 96, somewhere around there. So and then leading to their debut full-length album, which is titled, oh boy, and Gano, goddamn, that I'm gonna do. I don't want to try and butcher that, but apparently the track listing there is no different from the track listing on here. But apparently the year date for at least the recordings here are different compared to the recording dates for the ones on the only 1997 album or 98 album. So that's kind of where it's all at here. So I guess I want to go in more of the backstory. I want to go in more, but I think I'm going to try and just leave it until I get into the actual review to actually run through the actual information here on, or at least the backstory information, which is all in front of me right now on Bandcamp. So without further ado, let's try and keep this from going on too long. Let's get right into my review for this album from El Pecado. Okay, so for this album here, before I really get into any of my thoughts and before I really get into any of the backstory information on this band and album, I'm going to do a track listing rundown. But I am going to refrain from naming all of these song titles. Instead, I'll just give you, again, the track listing on your screen so you can at least read them. So, again, I want to refrain from butchering the song titles. So, there you go. But again, it's 13 songs, and it seems to clock around at least 33 minutes. So, it's not very long. So let's definitely get into, again, I'll give you at least a minute here to look at the track listing. So here you go. There's your track listing right here. Again, it's all 13 songs. Again, most of them are not relatively long, but they definitely are still at least, they're still fine. I think the longest is very, very much the very last song, being track number 13. That's definitely the longest song there. So I'm trying to at least go on a little bit so you can at least give you guys some time to at least to take in all the song titles here before I cut off the song titles and then go straight into me reading into the back history on this band here. So I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, there you go. There's your song titles. Hope you had enough time to read them. Okay, so let's get into the backstory here. So I've now pulled up the Bandcamp page. Let's definitely read through this. Let me read through this, and of course I'll put all the backstory information on your screen too, so you can at least read along with me. Make this interactive. All right. So El Pecado was formed in 1994 by Miguel El Pecador Zavia Coles, along with Trevor Murray on guitar and Jason Bryant on drums. Shortly after, in 1995, they recruited Tony Lamantia. I think I'm doing my best to read the tiny song titles here on Bandcamp, because my face is not in front of the screen here. So let's definitely move on. Again, on bass, in August of 1995, Jason left to focus on his other band, which is titled Team AIDS. That's a very interesting song, or at least interesting band name. And was replaced by Eric Pine as their new drummer. In 1997, they recruited Brian Clover as a second guitarist and remained a 5-piece until they officially broke up in 1998. So there you go. There's your date of disbanding. All right. So El Pecado was created by Mike Coles. It was created by Mike Coles here. So this is basically him going through now most of the band history here. So this is where it's him at least writing out most of this. So in order to express his deep hatred for religion, but more specifically the Catholic religion, he was brought up while growing up in Mexico City. Although the lyrics expressed and were his own personal beliefs, in 1997 he experienced a supernatural experience with God that made him change his mind on God and in his beliefs. With time, he learned that following Jesus Christ was freedom from religion, and everything that he thought he knew about Christianity when his soul was filled with hate was wrong. With his new personal beliefs, he decided to change the lyrics to several of the songs when they re-recorded all of the songs for what was supposed to be their debut album on Wild Rags Records, and which was also going to be El Pecado's final release. So if you understand Spanish, so I guess it just explains that the song titles are in Spanish. I said Hispanic, but my apologies there. So please do not take his lyrics to heart or mind. That is not him anymore. But right before that happened, unfortunately for many, Richard C. went to prison for tax evasion, leaving El Pecado to remain underground forever until now. In this special CD reissue, though, here, a cassette reissue, we have both of El Pecado's 1994 and 1995 demos, and as mentioned above, what was supposed to be their final release with 2 newer songs that they wrote as a 5-piece that were not on the older demos that were written in 1997. Thank you to Paul Sanchez of Doomsday Today Records for the support after all these years. Gracias, humano. Probably, okay, I don't want to try and butcher all of this, so I'm going to refrain from mentioning all that, even though you'll probably see the titles anyway. You'll see the written wording. So if you would not, okay, so there you go. I'm gonna stop there for now. So there you go. There's your little back history. So I guess this is pretty much, again, seems to, again, when looking at the song titles here on this release, it's no different from their 1997 album, or 98 album. It's no different from there, but again, it seems to be the original versions with the original lyrics, as opposed to the more re-recorded, rewritten lyrics after he, I guess, became born again. So that's kind of where we're at. So since, again, I don't really understand most of the language here to begin with, again, I don't really understand Spanish, so I can't really make out any sort of the differences within the lyrics on whether or not how hateful they are here in their original state. I do have to kind of say, though, musically, it's definitely, again, I think I forgot to mention their genre, but I think now is the best time to actually mention they are definitely a death metal band, and the genre here, or at least the music here, it's definitely death metal, but at times it almost has more of a grindcore thing going on for the actual release here, and hence why I think most of the songs are pretty relatively short and not really long. Which, again, that is more of a trait of grindcore for me than really straight up death metal. Again, because every time I think of short song titles, or these short song lengths, I tend to even think of like Napalm Death and Early Carcass is what I tend to really think of. And that's kind of what you kind of get here. But for the most part, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad grindcore-ish death metal. It's still pretty fun to listen to, though not everything, not completely mind-blowing. It's still very cool, and it's still something I can at least listen to and at least enjoy. So it's not bad at all. Every bit of these songs are pretty good. Even the very last song, which actually does kind of experiment with the intro, which is more kind of almost atmospheric. It's got a little bit almost it seems to be some sort of really intro, very dark piece. But again, it's only used as a way to build into the mayhem that the song actually brings. So again, there's this, it's not really a bad release at all. Again, I can't say anything else about this other than it's a fine, solid death metal album from these guys, and the fact that this was supposed to have been released on Wild Rags makes sense, because it does sound like something that would at least be at home on Wild Rags Records, which again was known for having bands like Bloodcum and Gamacide, and even Blasphemy. Yes, Fallen Angel of Doom. That was on Wild Rags too. So so an album like this wouldn't have been at a place on Wild Rags Records back in the 90s, because again, it just has that sound. So it's definitely not bad at all. I do dig it. So I don't want to go any further with this, but still, I think all I could talk about this is all I can at least be able to speak about. It's a fine release. That's all that needs to be said, though. There you go. There is my review for El Principio del Final, which is this right here. And my rating, I'm actually just going to give it a 8. 8 out of 10. I think, again, it's a solid death metal grindcore release. And I think it's definitely good. So if you like this kind of genre, and if this is something you want to at least seek out and listen to, again, I'll leave you a link to Doomsday's today's Bandcamp's page, where you can at least purchase this on their site. Sadly, there's no samples for you to really listen to, but again, since I've talked about some of this, again, mentioning that this was originally was supposed to be on Wild Rags, and that it also does sound like something that would be on Wild Rags. And if that's a label that you've liked, so again, I don't think you would be completely disappointed with this. So there you go. There's my review for this album right here from El Pecado. I hope all of you enjoyed. This is for Thrash. I say I'm out. I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.